Fear of rejection is caused by the nutty human mind, not by reality. We turn uncertainty into threat, threat into catastrophe, and then we suffer as if that crazy distortion were inevitable. So today we look at how our interpretations create vulnerability and how changing the meaning changes your power in the situation. Today is strategy 4. Reinterpret, reframe, then assert. Many adversities are imagined. They exist only in our heads as assumptions disconnected from reality. That's why it's critical to challenge how you interpret adversities and the triggers that make you vulnerable. I will demonstrate now how adversity often gets imagined during public speaking. Okay, ready? What just happened? Well, I can interpret my own 7 seconds of silence as a speech block, as gushing for air or being anxious. Or I can see it as a deliberate, legitimate pause to gather thoughts. Whether I'll be disturbed or calm depends on how I choose to interpret this situation. Here's the point, based in the case of my client, let's call him John, who froze during his speech. In John's words, the speech block felt like an eternity, and to him, this meant he was quote unquote a retard. But in reality, the so-called block during his speech lasted just a few seconds. So the first step is to reinterpret what actually happened. It was not an eternity, it was just a few seconds. Then you can reframe what that pause means. It's not a failure, but a legitimate moment to gather thoughts. Many adversities are, of course, real, but many are imagined, inflated in our own minds. And when you learn to evaluate them, to give alternative interpretations, or reframe them, even silence on stage can become a relief and even a leverage. And of course, many times body language and tonality uncover whether the silence is planned or indeed a speech block. But when my client John realized that a pause in a speech can be a legitimate attention-getting hook or thought-gathering moment, for him it became a valid tool in his public speaking skill that can eliminate both the adversity and with it vulnerability. But it only became acceptable after he engaged in reinterpreting and reframing. One client, let's call her Jean, was anxious about being judged if she asked her ex-partner why he left. Her thought was that if I ask, I'll come off as a total clinger and an emotional wreck. Notice the words clinger and wreck. They're labels, and they signal a deeper self-acceptance problem. This is why accepting ourselves comes first, because if you ask, why did you leave me, without first accepting yourself and the other person, two things can happen. You won't get an honest answer, or you won't get any answer at all. Or you will get it, but you won't be able to handle it. And that can damage the relationship even further. So acceptance matters. It's what allows you to act in your own interest, not against it. But this strategy is about reframing and asserting. So let's reframe Jean's idea that asking why her partner left her makes her a clinger. First of all, and I'll say it again, your emotions matter. In the conversation with your ex about why they left, if you feel unhealthy emotions of rage or anxiety, the conversation will collapse. The other side will sense that you're not ready for this conversation, and so will likely avoid it, sugarcoat it, or lie. But if you are emotionally ready to hear uncomfortable reasons, then the second thing is to prepare what you'll ask your ex-partner why he or she left. It is important to be and stay calm, first of all, while being direct, tactful, and concise. Here's an example how to ask assertively. Hey, what do you think I could have done better? I'm genuinely curious, if you're open to share. I mean, I really enjoyed our relationship, and I wouldn't want to repeat my mistakes from the past. Notice that my tone is 100% stripped of unhealthy emotions. The third aspect is that once you formulate what you're going to ask, now it's time to reframe what it means to ask such a question of why the ex left. Note, assertiveness is not aggression. It's open, direct, transparent communication that respects both you and the other person. There's no blaming, there's no manipulation. It's just boundaries plus honesty. That's not pathetic. Instead, such question of, hey, I'm really curious why you left, you know. Such question posed in such non-confrontative way is direct, respectful, with style, even brave. This is not just about the skill of reframing. It's about the skill of assertiveness. Assertiveness drastically increases your chances of achieving your goals. In this case, learning really what made your partner leave. And here is the last fourth point of the slide. It's a warning. Can you handle the truth? Can you accept hearing something raw and uncomfortable, such as the unexpected reason why your partner really left, because you have no idea what he or she are going to say? The answer is yes, you can handle the truth if you fully accept yourself and your partner. That's the real power. There is little to no vulnerability where there is acceptance, rational reinterpreting, and assertiveness. Of course, rejection hurts when you interpret it hurtfully. When you don't and assert instead, it becomes information you can act on. That's where vulnerability ends and leverage begins. In the next video, we take this into the workplace, where vulnerability isn't just personal anymore. It's political, and it has serious consequences. And if you want to work this beyond the examples here and want to apply it systematically, the Power Sequence course is linked in the description and pinned in the first comment.